President Rodrigo Duterte has acted to further improve existing government procedures. Toward this end, the president issued Executive Order 24, reorganizing the cabinet cluster system. EO 24 created the infrastructure cluster and participatory governance cluster in the cabinet cluster system and integrated good governance and anti-corruption in the policy frameworks of all the clusters. More of this report from Ria Fernandez.
President Duterte reorganized the cabinet clusters to focus more on government priorities. Under the Executive Order number 24 signed on May 16, two new groups in the cabinet were created. These are the Participatory Governance and Infrastructure clusters. Participatory Governance cluster is aimed at enhancing people's participation on government's programs and projects. It will be chaired by the Interior Secretary, with the Executive Secretary, the Cabinet Secretary, the Presidential Management Staff Head, Secretaries of DBM, DOJ, DOF, DTI, NEDA, and PCOO, Chairman of CHED, Presidential Advisor on Legislative Affairs, and NAPSI Lead Convener as members. Meanwhile, the Infrastructure Cluster focuses on infrastructure development for the realization of the 10-point socio-economic agenda. Public Works Secretary is directed to lead it, with the Executive Secretary, the Cabinet Secretary, the Presidential Management Staff Head, Secretaries of DILG, DBM, NEDA, DOTR, DOF, DICT, DTI, DADOH, DSWD, DepEd, and DOT as members. Moreover, reorganization also took place on Human Development and Poverty Reduction Cluster, now chaired by Social Welfare Secretary, Climate Change Adaptation, Mitigation, and Disaster Risk Reduction Cluster to be led by Environment Secretary, Security, Justice, and Peace Cluster under the Defense Secretary, and Economic Development Cluster chaired by Finance Secretary. The Cabinet Cluster System Secretariat, managed by the Cabinet Secretary, will serve as the head secretariat of the 6 Cabinet Cluster systems. In an interview, Assistant Secretary Jonas Soriano, spokesperson of the Office of the Cabinet Secretary, said that the objectives of good governance promoted by the previous administration are incorporated in the clusters. For PTV News, Ria Fernandez.